Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today I've got two very anticipated decks for this next format. We've got Alphamon X Antibody versus Veemon Armor Rush. Both these decks are probably some of the most fun decks I've played in a long time. Just every time you do anything, it just feels like, yes, here we go. I'm about to have some really cool, amazing turns. And it's just, yeah, and it's exactly that. This whole game was so much fun to film and record. I wanted to play both decks immediately. So I hope you get that same kind of vibe from this video. Don't forget, our memory marker this month that came out is Kokomon. So if you're playing a Cherubimon deck in BT7, or you're going to build a Cherubimon deck in BT8, this is a great memory marker for that deck, I think. Super cute, handmade out of clay by my wife, hand-painted face as well. You can find this on our Etsy store, link in the description below. Also on that store, you can find all of our previous memory markers we've had on the channel, as well as some of our Battle Ready Inc. merch. Alright, so kicking things off, we've got Alphamon going first. We're hatching into the Doraemon and then going into Sunazaramon here. And pretty, for the most part, standard stuff here. Only usually changes you'll see is like Dorumon instead. And then we see the new level 4 here. This is the one that gives Blocker as an inheritable, I believe. So yeah, that gives all your X antibodies a blocker. So over here on the blue side, we see the Upamon getting hatched and then goes into the Veemon. This is the Ulforce Veemon, but has a great inheritable that lets you draw. As long as you have 8 or less cards in hand, you get a draw. And then just going to pass turn with setting up a Davis and Ken. Davis and Ken, very good for armors, just allowing some really crazy powerful turns to pop off here. And then we're going to see a Yuji get played on X Antibody side. So yeah, Alphamon and X Antibody, they have these big things where they like to have, they build up very slowly to pop off later. Armor's over here just going straight into Flamemon, though. They are ready to go and gain that one extra memory off of the Davison Kin for that Veemon. Being on the field during the start of the main phase, but hits into the new option card here for X Antibody. This is a hard one to say, but basically it's going to trigger Digivolve 1, then you can pop a rookie essentially on the field. So a fantastic card to counter Rookie Rush, honestly, or not Rookie Rush, but Armor Rush. Then we're going to see the new Veemon get played here. I believe this is the one that searches a free type. So any of your free types they can go ahead and pick up, which is basically the entire deck. So anytime you hit a Digimon, you can always add something off of it. Kicking it back over to X Antibody, though, it looks like they're ready to promote now. Get that effect of Yuji. Gain 1 memory and draw 1 when you promote out of raising area. Very powerful stuff. Then they're going into the new level 5 here, which this is Hisarumon that gives a reboot as a inheritable, as well as when you place a source underneath of it, you can digivolve it into like a level 5, or into a mega for, I believe it's 1 less. Yeah, so it reduces the evo cost. So kind of a really good combo with like Yuji there. You attack with it, use the Yuji effect to place something underneath, and then you immediately digivolve it into your Digimon. So here we're going to see that black memory boost come down. Probably wants to pick up that Alphamon since we didn't see it in action this turn. Then we do see the other Mega, though, that unsuspends a good choice. But yes, he does pick up the Alphamon. So setting up for a very powerful turn next turn with the black memory boost guaranteeing that you'll be at that 3 memory no matter what. Even if the opponent tries to choke you at 1. We see the jamming Veemon come down here in raising area. And then just goes right into a Flamedramon for 2. Which would give him a little bit of a DP buff. Goes into the Fire Rocket, which is a fantastic card. One of the best cards in the deck for sure. Gives that +1 security attack, which on armor is great. So even if the armor dies in the first security check, the Veemon will still be in play to trigger the second check. So here we do see a Doru Greymon, only at 7,000 though. And then into a, what is that, a Dorugamon? All the names get so familiar or get so similar on me, but doesn't die in the security check, so won't be able to go into like a Magnamon or anything. We do see another Veemon come down here. Does pick up the Magnamon though. It looks like they might have been looking for potentially. So passes them back over, puts them at 3 memory though. So definitely expect a good turn for X Antibody at this point. Anytime you give X Antibody with a field like this kind of set up already, for sure going to have something pretty powerful come down here. Here they're going into another Sunerazamon though. So pretty good for Alphamon being able to get that extra security attack up. And then here we do see the Alphamon they picked up last turn come down. So they should be able to do pretty powerful stuff here. So swing with the Alphamon, does suspend the UG, so this will put a source underneath. Goes for the other level 6 Mega. This makes your Alphamon being able to unsuspend. So anytime an Alphamon swings, it basically gets to attack twice. We know how powerful cards like this are in Jesmon. Just extremely good value in these kind of cards here. Also should get a draw off of the baby as well, and it has blocker reboot. So decides to swing over the Flamedramon instead of at security. It has no security plus or anything like that, but then gains 2 memory off that Alphamon, and then finally will unsuspend. So yeah, didn't need to gain any sort of DP buff. Could have swung two swings into security for a total of 4 security checks, but the opponent having game on board with 2 Veemons on field and 1 ready to promote, and armors as well as the duo tamer there. Yeah, they definitely needed to clear that Flamedramon off or risk losing here. Decides to go into the blocker in the raising area here. And then we see the that option played again, which will pop that rookie on field, and then puts a Dorumon underneath, so that'll gain him 1 memory, essentially making that option only a 3 play cost. Very solid combo there, and also shorts memory chokes the opponent, so very good set of plays there. Control the board so that way they can't game you anyway. So pretty solid stuff there. So here we're going to see, looks like they decide not to swing in. That Alphamon does have blocker reboot, so probably not a good idea for that Veemon to swing in here. Going to just play the Veemon to set up for a future turn here, pick up something. Probably pick up the Raidramon, because the Raidramon can suspend a blocker, so that way you can, or at least a level 4 blocker, and does decide to pick that up and bottom deck the rest. We see that Hammer Spark go to the bottom. Probably really unfortunate. Probably going to need that. Especially if the opponent keeps choking them at memory. They don't have a regular Davis on field to give them a consistent 3 memory. Here we're going to see that promotion out of raising again, once again triggering the UG to gain 1 memory and draw a card. Very, very powerful card. Does go for the black memory boost. Probably doesn't want to risk hitting into any sort of Hammer Sparks in security here. And then looks like they're deciding to go into the UG yet again. So using the UG ability, placing a source underneath that Alphamon when attacking here. Just goes for, I forget this guy's name. He's the one that gives the decoy. He's the new searcher rookie here. Ryudamon is the name of that one. So we'll swing into security here. Decides to spend 2. Not sure what they're afraid to swing into here, that they need to spend that 2 memory. Does hit into an armor texture though, so this will get to play a Veemon for free, which is not where that Alphamon wants to be. That's like instant death right there. That's three swings coming in. Very, very dangerous. Here we see the Veemon trigger though, so gets its on play ability. We'll be able to grab any of its free type buddies. Does it go for the draw here? No, it has a lot of cards in hand already, so no, it goes for another searcher instead. Probably trying to dig into some armors at this point. Definitely going to need them. And then once the attack is complete, it will unsuspend here, and then swing in a second time. Does hit into the Hammer Spark though. And we'll see another Davis and Ken get hit. Oh, and golly, a third. So they'll gain a tremendous amount of memory on their turn. Down to 1, though. So got a bunch of security checks in that round there. So what is that, 4 in total? Oh, that's why they needed to pay they need to pay the 2 to trigger the Sunerazamon to give them that, put them at 13,000. Here we're going to see this the new removal option card that Black gets this format. I don't think it's as good as the other one personally, or maybe this was from last format, from BT8, I believe it was. Not as good against armors, but it did clear a 1 off field here. So after the raising phase here, they'll gain the 3 memory off the 3 different duo tamers. Here we're going to see that Ragermon that we saw them pick up earlier, which will suspend the blocker out of the way. And it goes ahead and swings in, probably wanting to get blocked here, to get deleted, but does not get blocked. So we'll see that Coda get triggered here, and so the Coda effect will go off, getting hit out of security. Yeah, probably wanted the Ragermon to die, so that way they could potentially go into an armor and suspend the duo tamer to keep the train going. So that Coda will trigger here. Just going to pick up another one of the blocker level 4s. And now we'll see that Veemon go ahead and swing in. This is definitely the one that the Alphamon player should block, so that way they can't go into a duo tamer on top of it. Or sorry, an armor on top of it and unsuspend. So goes ahead and deletes that. Now armor definitely needs to get. It has to have an armor texture I think at this point, which they do have. So that'll trash the top card and allow them to evo into another armor. And they do have a 2 cost. So the 2 cost ones are basically the ones they have to have at this point. No when Digivolving effect though, no target. So basically you have to pray that this dies in security. One of those duo tamers should be suspended for this to unsuspend that Ragermon, by the way. And then it does die. It does die. So the Veemon now suspended at 1 memory. Needs a Hammer Spark and 1 more, but doesn't have it. Has to go into the Magnamon. Well, yeah, 1 Hammer Spark and either a Flamedramon or another Ragermon, and would have taken the game right there. Very, very close, but we saw a lot of those Hammer Sparks get bottom decked or hit into security. Ouch, what a bummer. So at this point, we got Alphamon here swinging in. That Magnamon is huge, though. That I lost track of how many armors it is. So they do have to pay the 1 memory. So they put a level 4 underneath to give it a 1000 DP buff. Oh my god, but hits into a Hammer Spark to pass a turn, but didn't have to pay all of it. Had the level 4. That level 4 was so clutch there. Didn't have to pay the full 2 memory to get up to 13,000. Or to get up to the total memory that it needed to beat over that Magnamon. Very, very clutch. Yeah, so if you weren't sure of the interaction there, they had to pay the memory to get the Alphamon to be able to swing twice. Because if the Magnamon blocked the first one and deleted the Alphamon, then there wasn't going to be enough to attack twice, essentially. So they needed to pay enough memory to get over the Magnamon, so the Magnamon wouldn't want to block on that first swing. But if they didn't have the level 4, they would have had to pay 1 extra memory, and that Hammer Spark would have actually passed the turn because they would have been at 1, and then they, right, I don't think I messed that math up. Yeah, they would have been at 1, and then hit into the Hammer Spark, which would put them at 3, and then they would have gained 2 back off the Alphamon ability after attacking, gained 2 memory. So, wow, super, super close game for sure. Like, literally all the pieces just like, barely off. So many times that the armors could have taken it just if they had just had 1 more extra of the pieces, and Alphamon just right on the cusp of also needing just 1 extra piece, which it did have that extra piece in that level 4. So extremely close game. So let's go ahead and take a look at that the black deck here in the Alphamon. The player did say though that they preferred the new option card that de-digivolved first and then popped over the previous one that we had from last format, which was the Brave Metal. So delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 6 or less. If you have a Digimon with 5 or more Digivolution cards and X Antibody in its trait, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon without X Antibody in its traits instead. That the second part there, with Alphamon being played more and more, and then the Darugamon being played more and more, and then next set, just tons of X Antibody, this card will just get less and less valuable. So essentially you're paying a 5 memory cost to pop a 6 cost or less, whereas the new card is only a 4 play cost. D-Digivolves 1, and then in addition to that, you can pop something. So you can D-Digivolve like a Mega and then pop a rookie that's off to the side, or D-Digivolve a level 4 and then pop the rookie that was underneath it. Like, so much more versatility. And even on top of that, then you also get to place an X Antibody card underneath one of your X Antibodies, which is really, what we saw there was great. So you got the draw, you got the memory gain off of the Dorumon, like some very, very combo, very powerful centric stuff here. So I think it's definitely a much better choice over the one of there. And then here's the armor one. Pretty straightforward overall, I think. We didn't get to see it in this one, but that Chimeramon tech, I think, is pretty good. I think Chimeramon might be the way to go over something such as the Pyldramon that can attack twice, simply because this deck just doesn't have any good answers for removal, and Chimeramon could really, really kind of swing the game in your favor. You know, a 0-cost Joggerus to clear your opponent's field of all their little stuff, like all their level 4s and below, I think that's pretty solid of a card for sure. I think maybe the Fire Rocket should be at a 4-of, though. That card feels so good. Every time you play it, it feels so good. So be on the lookout. We'll have a deck profile later this week of some changes coming in. We'll see what changes need to be made and what text that we like to keep in.